Hello, and thank you for coming back. My name's Bill Gibbons, and this is the latest excerpt from my diary. First off, bear with me a moment, I've just had. First off, I would like to thank the handful of MPs that have actually read my email and watched my videos. I've had, and this is ironic, I've had 4 phone calls personally from MPs today. Not one of them was my own. I've had a dozen or 15 personal replies to my email that I sent out this morning to all MPs. Not one of them was my own. Iain Duncan Smith, you should be ashamed and embarrassed that my own MP doesn't care as much as people that don't know me. So hopefully you will have your ass kicked and engaged customer service mode, because I've had enough of being with you for 3 years and not receiving communications to an effective manner. 2 replies in a year when I've been chasing you for months is not communication. It's fobbing off. I know you don't appreciate mental health issues because you didn't attend Parliament when the Mental Health Reform Act was being debated. Your attitude towards people with autism and people with disabilities stinks. Unless you can make a point out of it to make you look good, then you don't want to know. Whereas going by a handful of MPs that actually did communicate with me and did speak with me effectively, I don't think they would call me a troublemaker. So you might want to learn from some of your colleagues. However, some of your colleagues want to see me dead, because they've blocked my email since I sent that one this morning. Someone on the edge, and they've blocked a second email from me because I've asked the Labour MPs to chase up a complaint about my councillors. And most of the Labour MPs have blocked me now. Only a handful of emails got an automated response this time. Public servants, nonsense. They should all be thoroughly investigated and ashamed of themselves. I mean, I emailed 200 Labour MPs about a party matter, not a parliamentary matter, and the ones that replied actually gave the excuse of parliamentary protocol. Well, I replied back to them actually saying parliamentary protocol doesn't apply. This is a party issue, not a constituency issue. None of them replied back so far. I've still got a few emails to check. I'm going through every email. All the automated ones I'm just ignoring. Anything personalised, I'm replying back to. So a lot of the MPs I've not had to reply back to because I only got automated emails. Like you, Iain Duncan Smith. Nice man. Just in it for yourself, are you? Don't agree with my accounts of racism or discrimination, or see me as mentally ill or autistic. You just see me as a nuisance. There's nothing in my case for you to gain from. No photo opportunities. No press clips. No awards from business or the Queen. So you don't seem to want to get involved. Your office and you are clones. I've never actually spoken to my MP, Mr. Smith. And it would be nice. I've spoken to 4 MPs this afternoon. Why wasn't you one of them? Seriously. I'm not going to send this out to all the MPs again, because apparently they've blocked me, most of them. It's not a parliamentary server thing, it's an individual account thing. They've right-clicked on my email, send to junk, block, that sort of thing. So once again, people putting people's lives at risk by ignoring emails. I have tried going through the channels, I've tried going through the system to complain about my councillors. The system doesn't work. I've complained to the Ministry of Justice about various things as well. They haven't acknowledged my emails even. This is why I'm in the situation I'm in now. Anyway, moving swiftly on, a summary of the day has been: started crap, 9 o'clock, building works behind me, not authorised by the council, and the council don't know anything about it, neither does the planning group in my area, and yet no one came out and stopped the works. They've literally, in the matter of one day, dug up half a playground. Unmarked vans, labourers that weren't wearing steel toe cap boots or work clothes, just sweatsuits. They're not labourers. As far as I know, they could be travellers digging the place up to put caravans on. And yet no one cares. I can't contact my MP because he's virtually picking up quicksilver. Would be 10 times easier than contacting Iain Duncan Smith and getting a sensible response, a customer focused response. All I get from his minions is attitude. Never once have they called me back. Not once. And yet I send one email to 651 MPs. I get 4 MPs within the space of an hour calling me. But Iain Duncan Smith, I'm too low for him. I'm not the right type for him. I'm just a council tenant to him, so he doesn't bother. He sticks around Chingford, where most of the private residents are. He doesn't come down to this end of his constituency. He doesn't want to come to Hyams Park because there's not enough rich people down here. He sticks around the north end of his constituency. He's always complaining about putting houses up in a nice area like Chingford Green. And yet, where are the houses supposed to go, Mr. Smith? It's all right complaining about building houses, but exactly where are the houses supposed to go? Give the council an idea of where they're supposed to put all these people they need to home. Instead of, oh, well, we shouldn't put it here on this nice piece of countryside. You're in London, son. You're not in the counties. You're not in the shires. You're in London. It might be green now, but it won't be green forever. We need homes more than we need grass. Grass are for cows. Homes are for people. If you've got a problem with that, Mr. Smith, okay, I'll take you on. Give me a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting. Well, Zoom I think I prefer. The interface is easier. And being autistic, I need a nice simple interface, Mr. Smith. I'll take you on a public meeting if you want. Answer questions publicly from me and other residents. And I'll take back all that I've said about you. As long as you come to the meeting with openness and honesty, two things which seem to be lacking with most politicians, then I'll give you a fair swipe. You know? But if you come to the meeting with an attitude and with the opinion that I'm a fool, then you are in for a fight, Mr. Smith, because I'm no one's fool. The system has upset me for years. You are part of that system. You need to explain yourself and that of your constituency, and how you've allowed racism to develop in your constituency. Yes, you have allowed racism to develop. How? I'll tell you in the meeting, Mr. Smith. Come on, if you're man enough, take me on in a public meeting. We'll have a one-to-one Zoom meeting that's on Facebook Live. I'll take you on one-to-one. I won't give you questions in advance. You're not going to have an easy ride of it. I want the system to answer for itself. Why have you allowed racism to develop in your constituency and done nothing about it? You do all these photo shoots, yes, with the Metropolitan Police and going out picking up, you know, litter and cleaning up parks and all that sort of stuff. You came down to my area a few months back and you wasn't interested in the little people shouting at you from the window. You walked straight past me to go to the police down the end. You had an armed, well, not armed, but you had a police presence of 2 or 3 police around you, and you walked straight past me shouting at you from the window. Oh, I didn't hear you. You didn't want to hear me is the correct thing. Where are the politicians when all fails? I'll tell you where they are. Untouchable. Just someone out there, try calling Iain Duncan Smith's office. I dare you. Call them after 9:30. Before 9:30, seems to be easy to get through because the parliamentary switchboard hasn't switched over to someone's voicemail. So call them. Test the system. This is what I've been complaining about for years. Everyone assumes the system works, but no one tests it. The shops have better experiences with customers because they have secret shoppers keeping an eye on them. So why aren't there secret punters for the council or MPs or the health service? In fact, I think the health service may have secret customers that go through, you know, things like that. But it should be generic amongst the whole public service. MPs need to be tested. And this is the other thing. I had a conversation with Iain Smith's office a few days ago, and I said I put a freedom of information request in to him back in the summer and I had no reply. And I was told, well, the MPs aren't liable, they're not a public institution, they're not liable to the Freedom of Information Act. Well, how bullshit is that? Public MPs aren't public bodies and they're not liable to the Freedom of Information Act. Well, that needs amending straight off the bat, if that's true. Why are MPs less liable to the FOI than local councillors? I don't understand that. Their expenses are freedom of information, but letters they've written and emails they've written on your behalf aren't? No, if that is right, that is wrong. That needs changing straight off the bat. MPs should be just as liable as the local road sweeper for the council. So, 9 o'clock, started chasing about the building works going over there. I eventually, after 3.5 hours, got through to someone. And remember, all this is affecting my mental health because there's no easy way of contacting anyone directly in the council. Waltham Forest Council, try their website. Absolute piece of shit. Even people in the council have told me it's a piece of shit. You can't get a direct email for any department in the council. You can't get a direct phone number for any department in the council. You always have to go through the bloody switchboard and that menu system. Why can't they just have a direct dial for each department? So you dial each department, then you're only waiting for that department to answer the call. No, they expect you to sit in a menu system and get delayed in a menu system, hoping that you're going to drop the call because you're fed up with the menu system. That's why they implemented menu systems. I was there at the beginning. It was a big whiz. Put this in and you'll have your call volume reduced because people, it was sold as reducing the call volume. So don't bullshit me. I worked in IT for 30 odd years. So I got through. No one seems to know anything about the planning application. So I'm going to have to chase them again tomorrow. Then in the afternoon, I had 3 visits. Mark 'em, 3 visits. Well, technically 2 visits, because I had 1 police unit, 2 policemen. 2 policemen is a unit. Visit me. Then 10 minutes later, another unit visited me as well at the same time, concurrently. And I was there a good 30-40 minutes explaining to the police how I feel and, you know, what I'm going to do and what's happening. And they were so sympathetic, and I was so apologetic to the police, because I've said to them, and I say to them every time, that they've done more than enough. They shouldn't be used as a supplementary mental health system, which they are. And it's not fair. They've got enough to do, especially nowadays under COVID, with fewer people, because they're just as affected by COVID as anyone. So thank you for your concern, police. Please try not to come round again. I know you haven't got a choice. If I mention the word suicide or suicidal thoughts, you have to attend. I am sorry about that, but that's how I feel. Anyway, thank you for attending. So I had that, I had them, and I had 4 or 5 actual phone calls from MPs. We were really concerned, and I thanked them, and I've thanked them via email. And then I decided to chase up about my councillors, and that's when I found out that most of the Labour MPs want me dead because they've blocked me. And if I'm not sending multiple emails to the same people, then why have they blocked me on one email? Do people normally get blocked just for sending one email to the wrong MP? Is that what happens? I've written to the House of Commons as well for the Speaker. And I want that in. I want the Speaker to see this, because the way his colleagues behave reflects on the nation. And the fact that the majority of 200 Labour MPs have blocked me. I don't know how many MPs in total, because I haven't sent any to the other MPs. But I think I will. To see what happens, I might use an alternate email address. I have a few. I can create them randomly. I have my own server. So you might block one email, but I can just increment the email and have another email. There's dozens I can have. So don't fuck about with me. Block me if you want. I'll just, you know, if you get a blocked email, I'll create another email and send it from there. Would you block the press? I'm sure the press issue lots and lots of emails. Would you block them? Oh no, they've got the rights of the press. I have rights as an autistic person, protected under the 2010 Equality Act. Does that not count for anything? I mean, surely if you block someone's email, you should at least tell them you're going to block them. Not be cowardly lion and block them without telling them. Like Waltham Forest Council officers have done, and several MPs have done. Is that correct, people? Left, right and centre? Is that correct? No, is the answer. On a lighter note, I've spoken to my little narrowboat friend, who seems to be in a better frame of mind today, thankfully. So, best of wishes to her. I had a nice little chat with her on the phone as well. And we seem to be there seems to be a synergy with us, because we seem to be going through the same sort of shit. So, I'm helping her, she's helping me. It works. Mary's put up with an awful lot of shit with me, and Lita as well, over the weekend. But at one point, the police wanted to take me to hospital. They didn't want to section me. They just asked me if I would like to go to the hospital. And I said no, because there's not much they can do. If I wanted mental health support, I've got the number of someone I can call for mental health support. I've got a couple of people I can call if I need to. I don't like burdening people when I feel like this, because I end up shouting at people for no reason. Just because of all the pent-up anger about how the system has let me and others like me. Don't forget the others like me, because this isn't just about me anymore. And it hasn't been since March last year. This is all the people like me that get in just as bad, or if not worse, treatment. I hasten to add, Waltham Forest Council, some of its staff are racist. And they are allowing racism to develop in their borough. Housing particularly, they're the ones I have problems with. And they're the ones that are actually racist and discriminate against me on the grounds of my race and my mental health and autism. And if people would only examine the evidence, which other people will need to get the full evidence from Waltham Forest Council, then they will know I'm talking the truth. It's blatant. I've got neighbours in my block that are racist towards me and despise me. They call me mad. I'm sure that's against the 2010 Equality Act for calling someone with mental health issues and autism mad. No one does anything. I've got a neighbour that has physically lied to the police. No one does anything. I got told this afternoon by the police visit that I should contact the borough commander to find out why my case against Waltham Forest Council was dropped. Have you tried contacting your borough commander? It's something that your councillors normally do on your behalf. Have you tried when none of your councillors talk to you or respect you or give you the rights that are protected under the 2010 Equality Act? Or even the Human Rights Act? Have you tried it? I tell you, it's a wheeze. They tell you to contact the borough commander. I found out my borough's commander's name by looking it up on the internet, and it came up from the Guardian website. Because, uncannily, he was mentioning last New Year's honours list. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been able to find it. Then I did a search for his name. And there's nothing on the Metropolitan Police website. So then, Howland Police called me. Because I put an email on a form on the Metropolitan Police website. I filled that in to ask to talk to the borough commander, Richard Tucker. They called me and they said, "You're best off calling 101. Well, that's not what the police told me. They told me to contact the borough commander. Oh, you can write to him, apparently, but you can't email him. Isn't the borough commander a public official? I'm sure he was last time I looked. He's a member of the police, so they're public servants. And yet there's public servants without email addresses for the public. Really? I'm sure the same thing goes for doctors, you know. They're public servants in a way. In fact, they are public servants. There's no inner way about it. And yet you try emailing your doctor. I dare you. I have found email addresses for my doctors, but they refuse to respond to them on the grounds that I'm not an NHS email, so they can't talk to me. But they just replied back to my email, even though I wasn't an NHS email. So how much sense does that make? They're not allowed to talk to me because it's not an NHS email account, and yet they still emailed me saying they're not allowed to talk to me. And I've worked their systems, remember. I did IT support for the NHS. I know they receive and answer emails from non-NHS emails. I have seen them. So don't bullshit me. The only exemptions to NHS email systems is on the secure government network, which I wasn't emailing. The email addresses were available on the North East London website, the NHS website for my region. It's a public record, and yet my GP hides their contact emails. You can't complain to my GP unless you walk into the surgery or send them a letter. You try complaining on the phone and they don't raise a complaint, they put you through to the doctor. Well, like I've been saying for decades now, I don't raise complaints to get things done. I raise complaints because things have gone wrong and I want them resolved. I know you're sitting there thinking, what's the difference? Well, some people, I'll explain the difference. Some people complain to jump the queue and get treatment faster. I don't do that. I don't mind waiting. But I do mind when my GP says he'll call you back on Friday, for instance. I think it was Friday. I'll call you back in 2 days. And several months later, he hasn't called you back. And I put a complaint in via email, which was ignored. So I emailed the National Health, the NHS England, who had to email on my behalf because I can't contact them. And then the doctor wrote to me in a rather shirty way, explaining it already written to my consultant at Queen's Hospital. Hello, autism? What part of autism don't you understand? You're a fucking doctor. Unless I know you've written, I assume you've done nothing. So when you write to people, have the courtesy to send them a copy. Would be nice. Would be nice if you scanned it in and emailed them to them and advertised an email address that people can contact you on. What are you afraid of, doctors? Admittedly, I take it back, it's not all doctors, because some surgeries are really good, really up to date, really friendly. But my surgery is stubborn and belligerent. They refuse to go over to a standard system for the whole borough because they like the system they were on. Even the area had gone over. The CCG had gone over, adopted the new system. They didn't want to change their system. We're independent. We want to do our own thing. And so what happens? If you go to a surgery out of hours on a Saturday or something in the borough, and you go to a surgery that isn't on their system, because there's only 2 people in this borough that are on that system. System 1 it's called. The rest of the borough is on EMIS. Then it can take 3 or 4 days for your records to get transferred over to your doctor. If you go to like one of these 2 and you're from an EMIS system practice, then it can take 3, 4, 5 days for the data to go across. In which case you're not being treated because your doctor hasn't got your notes or your records. Fantastic system, isn't it? Putting people's lives at risk because you're belligerent. Fantastic. What matters first? Using a system you like or saving people's lives and making their life better? It's your choice and you chose to look at your own system rather than the wider picture. Selfish. That's Handsworth Medical Practice. And the other one that's on System 1 in this borough, I don't know if they switched over since because it was a few years ago now. The other one was Roding Valley, had the same attitude. We rather keep our system and help people generally in the borough. Both of them need to be forced to go to EMIS. They shouldn't have a choice. It's a system-wide thing. We all want the same system. You're forced to take it. They shouldn't have a choice. It's an NHS service. They should go to what the NHS service is using. They're using big hospitals EMIS. They don't use System 1. But there we are. Don't take my word. I only supported them for 3 years. Anyway, my rant, I think, has gone on long enough. I'm sorry to have gone on. And well done if you've made it this far. Most people don't make it past the first 2 or 3 minutes. So if you've made it this far, thank you. If you have made it this far, please like and share and subscribe. You probably have subscribed already. There's not many people that make it this far that aren't subscribers. But thank you. Please stay safe. Take care. And keep up the fight. Join the fight. Don't let politicians bully or intimidate you anymore. You have more rights than they do, remember. They are public and civil servants. They owe you. You pay for their wages. Without you, they would be unemployed. So do not accept bullshit from politicians anymore. Fight for your rights. Don't forget, every time you get an answer from a politician, they have to explain it. They can't just say no. They have to explain it. If they don't, it's a local government ombudsman thing, or a housing ombudsman thing, or an information commissioner thing. They have to give you a reasonable explanation. On that point, thank you for watching and good night.